Sarah Marino is a landscape photographer based in a small town in Colorado. She travels around the western U.S. in an Airstream trailer with her partner Ron Cascarosa, who is also a nature photographer. She grew up in the mountains but was never greatly involved with nature until her early 20s when a friend had her pick up hiking. Before she was a photographer, she was working a demanding job 70 to 80 hours a week whilst taking on full-time graduate school. In 2008, she was hiking in a rainstorm and her camera was ruined, so she decided to buy a better one, which sparked an interest in photography. After starting her own consulting business, she had far more time to focus on her hobbies, such as hiking and photography. She said, "I found the experience of immersing myself in photography to be one of the times I could ease my constantly racing and stressed out mind." Marina states that although she's taken part in a couple of classes, she is mostly self-taught through reading in the internet. Soon she and Ron were traveling full-time, and she took off from there. A lot of Marino's nature photos is based in the Midwest, such as her pictures taken in Death Valley, California. Her portfolio is a variety of smaller, intimate scenes and grand vistas, expanding the limits of the imagination. Marino is known for taking both color and black and white photos. She states that the colored photos usually take on a more whimsical feel, whereas the monochrome photos are supposed to linger with a more intense, dramatic feel. Marino simply snaps good shots she notices when traveling. She says that she is drawn to patterns and tidiness, often putting the world under an idealized filter. In an interview with Capture Landscapes, Marino states that she has been impacted by multiple photographers throughout her career, most prominently Cole Thompson, another black and white photographer from Colorado. He said, "As I analyzed how I was working, I came to the conclusion that when I studied other photographers' work, I was imprinting their style onto my conscious and subconscious mind. And then, when I photographed a scene, I found myself imitating their style rather than seeing it through my own vision. To overcome this tendency, I decided to stop looking at the work of other photographers as much as practically possible." After realizing that she may also be doing this, she tried to move away from looking towards others. She states that she is inspired just by being surrounded by nature, there, in the moment. Sarah Marino has co-written many educational ebooks with her fellow nature photographer and partner Ron Cascarosa, featuring their photography and techniques. She is also won Photographer of the Month for the Outdoor Photography Guide in June 2014, as well as other websites and networks. According to her interview with the Outdoor Photography Guide, Marino always carries a camera body, wide-angle lens, mid-range zoom, telephoto, macro lens, a teleconverter, a reflector for lighting, extra batteries, and if you plan on hiking, she recommends a GPS, first aid kit, headlamp, and a microfiber towel. She takes pictures with a Canon 6D and typically uses lenses that range from 16mm to 300mm. Marino has 3 tips for starters. Number 1. Be curious. If you know more about the environment you're in, you can find some truly unique shots. Number 2. Don't expect to immediately stumble across a good scene. Often you have to be patient and work hard to get the right lighting and angle to tell the story you're trying to capture. You may have to focus on smaller shots when the weather isn't in your favor. Number 3. Photography is as much about creativity as it is about technique. Taking it too seriously sucks the fun out of it. Although Marino isn't known as a groundbreaking photographer, her impact on the field is undeniable. I find Marino's work so appealing because of how they create a particular mood. It's almost like a movie playing out in your head as you look at the photograph. I also enjoy her grander photos because it reminds us how big our world is. We're only strangers passing by, as these beauties were made over thousands of years. I like this photo in particular because of how it creates this feeling of wonder. The colors of the sky, the satisfying pattern on the ground. It seems ironic that a picture located in a place called Badwater Basin, in the middle of Death Valley, would look so picturesque. It really makes you think. If you could speak to that landscape, what story would it tell?